Well, hello everybody. Oh, I'm as deaf as a post and I can hear that door creaking in the background. Welcome to this Friday, Dave in the Shed, or what's that crazy guy up to this time type video. So anyway, this week the Ender Free, I didn't put the new hot end in. It's just doing a recommissioning print now, just doing a calibration print. Now, the amazing thing about this is it was a bit of a trick to work out how to replace the hot end, because normally to replace the hot end you've got to heat them up and then remove them and re-torque them when they're hot, but the problem with this hot end is it wouldn't heat properly. So yeah, I had to take a blowtorch to it, literally, little one, just to heat everything up, pull the old head out, put it in. Anyway, it's up and running, it's just doing its recommissioning print. I'm amazed, it only took me 2 calibrations attempts. The first initial rough guess, and then with the what's your name feeler gauge, I did the first print, failed, did a reinitial print and got it spot on. Normally it takes me about 2 or 3 hours to get it spot on, but had it up and running in about half an hour. So that's interesting. Anyway, that's just out there. So the Ender Free, the old Ender Free, well, what started out as the Ender Free with many upgrades, back on deck printing. So this is just a test cube that you print, and you run the calipers over it to make sure you've got it spot on, but so far looks good. Any questions about that, ask me, but that's pretty stock standard FDM printing. Printing in ABS, which is one of the harder things to do. It shouldn't really be printing ABS in the inclement weather, because it is really a bit heat sensitive, but I just thought, okay, I've got it loaded in the machine, do a run. If prints this okay today, you know you're pretty much spot on, but so far, there you go. Anyway, let's have a look in what's going on in there in the shed. I did leave a train running, but we'll see what happens. Like most things, you have the train sort of, oh yeah, train's decoupled. Locomotive's running around. Now if you hear a ticking in the background, I've got the jet engine running. You'll hear the pumping. This could all end in disaster, or it could slowly push these carriages around. Let's just see what happens. It was running. It's always the way. You get the train, it runs perfectly, you turn the video on and things happen. Anyway, what's been up to this week? Well, not a lot. Had a couple of days down, and I'm still suffering a bit from a virus that's causing me a few issues, and that's slowed me down a bit. Spent Wednesday like in bed, and yesterday really feeling crook. Today I'm up and about a bit more, which is good. This is the start of the roof, because we talked about putting a skillion roof up at the factory over the entrance bit and the loco area. So that's the start of building the skillion roof. And I did some work on the lifty bench. Now, shout out to my older bro. My older bro said, "What are you doing all that for? Why don't you just go down the hammer shop and buy yourself a lifting device like table lifting? You just save the trouble." 2 things to that is this so far, the cost of the project has been about $20. And half the fun is building and stuffing around the shed, isn't it, people? Yeah, nod your head. Anyway, so that's what we're up to. Look at this. One of the advantages of doing this is it works as a setting up table, because look, I can stick magnets, clamps on it and bits and pieces. I can do all that, and it's a metal top. Now I've cut about a metre and a half out of that, re-welded it all back together, as well as doing some other projects I won't show you because it's running out. So I've re-welded this all up, shortened it down to what was like the least I could go, and bit of a rough welding job, but it'll hold it together. It's not going to fall apart. And this is what to do. So what I've done is deliberately, undeliberately, the step deck. There's a couple of pins on here. Look, if you've got any questions about what I'm doing, because I rattle and mumble on it now. So this is sort of like a sacrificial piece of timber. It's a big whopping piece of chipboard. This is so if you're cutting and drilling or screwing stuff down, you're going to cut and drill into the timber. I can replace that. It's got pins on the end that hold it in place and line up. You also, if you want to bolt something down, you can bolt it down here. If you want to bolt clamps down, you can do that. Should have brought some of the bolty clamps down. Show you. Anyway, now this is a cutting slot. Oh, don't swing the camera around like that. This came very handy, and I put some photos in of when I was cutting up some timber. So this is on magnets, by the way. This just lifts out if you're doing any woodwork or anything where you want to run a saw or a drill and you want to have a gap, yeah, I run the table, the big circular saw down there. It's on cut to fit. I put some photos in it when I was doing it. That's on magnets, so it drops in there and this locks in and holds in. And there's the rest of the lifting table. And look, super indulging myself because I've got Jeffro the crane on the lifting table. So this is one of the other purposes. Anyway, hang on, train coming. Train! What's the train come past? Then we'll get back to talking about Jeffro on the table. Somebody's got to do some height adjustment on the couplers. Just to get that, because, yeah. So there, doing a bit of show. So anyway, how's this? This is one of the purposes I wanted to, is so I can roll stuff on. I've got to make a little ramp for this yet. That would just be ideal. So there's Jeffro the crane on the lifting table, and I've lifted Jeffro up so he's at a height where I can work with him. How nifty is that? How mad scientists like super experimental, really wacky decky do job is that? Yeah, crane on the lifty table. Now the reason why I've got this humpy is when we cut down and took all the minimal out of the Humpy Downy bed, there was a spare actuator that lifts the pillow section up and down. And I was going to mount it on the crane because this is a freeway system. This actuator's broken. I was going to say buggered, but I shouldn't say it. It's knackered. It doesn't work properly. That's probably the reason why that bed was decommissioned and chucked down. Didn't realise that when it had the weight on the bed on it, it would actually move. But the only hassle is without any weight on it, the actuator will go out. I'll show you. That's not going to work at all now. Hang on. Spit out, Mr. Actuator. There, it moved a little bit. You hear the pump and everything running. It'll go out. I was going to make this onto the crane and use a third extension. So it'll go out. Unweighted. It don't come back. So it might be just fun to pull apart and see what's going on, but yeah, that might have been one of the reasons why this unit was decommissioned, because it doesn't work. But anyway, that was just an added bonus. I didn't pull the whole bed apart just to get the actuator out, although some people claim it. I wanted an uppy down table that I could play with. So yeah. Well, that's about it for this week. If you've got any suggestions or any questions you'd like to ask, please do. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Apparently it helps. Watch the train come past. So projects that are ongoing is the Skillion roof up there for Megget's factory. I shall be playing around with the some stuff I've got to do on the uppy down table and Jeffro the crane and bits and pieces. Yeah, hopefully, hang on, we'll just quickly test the test print. Yep. Pretty much now at 90% done. If it was going to fail and wasn't going to line up, would have done by now. So anyway, keep safe, take care, get outside, do stuff in your shed, play with rains. Till then, probably catch you next week. All going well, that's the plan. Bye for now from Dave in the shed.